Someone on here asked for a shading tutorial, so I'm going to go ahead and give you all the method that I use. I'm not saying this is the best way or even the only way, but it's a way that's helped me a lot recently to break it down and understand it in a bite-sized manner. The first thing you need to do is have some banging line art. I like to make my line art as clean as possible and almost to a polished level, as it is the base for what we are going to do next. It's also my favourite part of the process. If you would like a tutorial on how I do line art, just let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to make it for you. The second thing you need to do is to make sure you select the silhouette of the character and fill it in on another layer. You can do this by using the magic lasso tool. However, if there are gaps in your line art, you can use the regular lasso tool while holding down the shift key. It makes cleanup easier and adds a nice base for the shading. I will typically put the opacity on this layer anywhere from 10 to 30%, depending on the way I want it, though I do recommend 30% for most cases. When we have our base, you can move on to the next step of the shading process. Now I will make a new layer and start to paint in every part on the character that would be a shadow, like this. I personally like to use the lasso tool to do this. Using only the two values lets you understand how the light interacts with the rest of the character. Thinking of it like this from the beginning helps to give you a good grasp of how shadows work on your character. You can also change this by deciding where you want the lighting source to come from. However, I'm going to stick with the easiest way to lighting from above, like the sun. Step 3 requires a little bit of anatomy knowledge depending on the detail of your characters, and a strong foundation of form is needed to do this next step. Bring this layer down to an opacity of around 65%. I find this is a good base layer and I can turn it up or down when I finish this step. So you can start out by taking your eraser and slowly carve out the individual forms of the character like this. If something needs a little bit of a gradient from lighter to darker, you can just keep on erasing until you have the desired look. Do this until you have worked through all of the shadows. If something needs a little bit of darkening, don't be afraid to paint in a little bit more and work on it until you're happy with it. Now the next step is one of the final steps that can help to bring the whole piece or character together. This is called ambient occlusion, and it helps to add more depth on characters between objects that are close enough to each other to cause a shadow. To do this, lasso the area you need to darken and use the gradient tool until it is dark enough to your liking. Do this for the rest of the piece, and now it is ready for final assembly. It can make the whole piece look more finished after this is done. Now I go back to the whole piece and look to where there are needed highlights and shadows. I paint these in and adjust the shading in areas until I'm happy with the final result. And that's basically it for my shading process. Thank you all so much for asking how to shade. It makes me feel like I'm able to give back a little bit of information that I have learned over the past few years. Please do let me know if this has helped or if you would like another tutorial in the future. Any comments, likes or shares are highly appreciated, and any little bit helps me tremendously. Anyways, thanks for sticking around for this long, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!